Check. Yeah. Looks like we're live. Got my one viewer. Still have not figured out how to get my own voice out of my head and delay with the headphones. Somebody's got to help me with that. Yeah. Yeah, the little bit of lag in my headphone, it makes my brain not work right. So I can't have my headphones on and talk at the same time. Well, maybe I can. All right, let's.
But I do think what we're seeing right now is
Well, there we go. Just a little technical stuff to start the stream as always. Okay, everything looks good.
President Maduro. I saw a hand on a head as they were coming out of the plane, which suggests that maybe somebody's in handcuffs. So if we're just, I saw, but I think.
Hello, everyone. It's a great start to 2026, or a horrible start to 2026, depending on your political viewpoint or how you feel about certain issues and certain topics. But for me, I don't even know what to think about all this. This is a crazy situation that the United States is in right now, and then to hold Maduro accountable in a way that I wouldn't say that the United States is without guilt in a lot of matters, and people would love to hold us accountable for some stuff that we've done to other nations, but to see Trump, the leadership that we have, go in and snatch a leader of another country, and then immediately we're not being bombed or attacked, is really a telling. This is crazy. And so, everybody's been talking about it, of course, because it's the biggest thing to happen in recent history. But we just have.
I do think what we're seeing right now is President Maduro. I saw a hand on a head as they were coming out of the plane, which suggests that maybe somebody's in handcuffs. So if we're just, and there's video being taken of this person coming down the stairs. So I'm going to guess that is a social media person that's going to post a video of Maduro, who we see gingerly going down the stairs right now, unless that is his. It could be his wife. It's just very hard to tell. Again, it's 5:23 here.
Him and his wife.
On the East Coast, and night has fallen, so the only illumination we have is the stairway, and it's not providing quite a lot of detail. I guess we'll have to wait to see what that social media video, which I presume is being taken, will show us a bit later. But this does appear to be either Maduro or his wife coming down these stairs.
Yeah. That's crazy. Wow. They just snatch and grab this guy in less than 6 hours, and he's in the United States, and now he's being arraigned in court, and, you know, there's all kinds of video of special report. Maduro and his wife plead not guilty at the first court appearance. Soy inocente. Maduro says he's innocent during U.S. court hearings. Legal analysis of the case against Nicolas Maduro. This is all 2 days ago, so there's not any real news on that front. But we're going to dig into a little bit about why. I mean, there's a few other things going on in the news, but why Venezuela of all places? Here we go. Good old friends at, I don't know, at Fox News.
All right, we turn our attention back to Iran tonight. We're getting multiple reports. The radical government there is now potentially on the verge of collapse. Here with reaction, the leader of the Iranian opposition, Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi, is with us. Reza, good to talk to you again. Welcome back. Thank you for being with us. Okay, for those that don't know, you were born in Iran. The Shah of Iran, deposed by the Ayatollah Khomeini in that revolution, what was it, 1976 or 7? And Iran has been a brutal, murdering theocracy ever since. What are your sources telling you within Iran is going on there?
Well, Sean, first of all, thank you for having me on your program. It's been too long since we last spoke. Look, in all these years, I've never seen an opportunity as we see today in Iran. The Iranian people are more than ever committed to bring an end to this regime, as the world has witnessed in the last few days. The level of demonstrations unprecedented in Iran, over 100 cities and millions of people on the street chanting death to the dictator, an end to this regime. And by God, it is about time that Iran gets its opportunity to free itself from a tyrannical regime.
I saw reports on social media and video on social media. You can't confirm it, but it looked pretty real to me. Maybe you can confirm it for me. Of police on the roof of police stations laying down their arms, showing solidarity with the protesters. Are you getting reports? Is that accurate? And do you have any intelligence that that Ali Khamenei is, in fact, you know, does he have a plan B to go to Russia?
Sean, one thing that is significant, and I would like to draw the attention of those who have followed what happened in Iran nearly half a century ago, the role that the bazaar, which is the traditional bourgeoisie, plays in Iranian politics. And today we've seen unprecedented scenes in the Iranian bazaar of merchants and joining with the protesters. And it has been my strategy to call upon the military personnel and people, the armed forces, to lay down their arms and join with the people, to be part of the solution, to be able to have an exit strategy we offer them as a national reconciliation. We see that quite evident. And this is very important because when you're facing an extremely brutal regime, and when we think of the post-collapse stability of a smoother transition, it will be impossible without the tacit cooperation and collaboration of the military forces. The fact that they have heeded my call, and I've sent them another message of clarify your position, you're either with the people or stand vis-a-vis them. We are beginning to see more and more defections. I launched this campaign about 6 months ago. We have received tens of thousands of applicants who would like to join. It's not just limited to the military and paramilitary forces, Sean. It also includes the civil bureaucracy, people who are working in government ministries. All of them be part of the solution that will end up bringing this regime to its knees. Now, as to Khamenei.
You see that? He said something interesting. Either you're with the people or you're against the people. And with Venezuela, this is hilarious hypocrisy because, I mean, you know, we're just gonna look at what the people think. That's a party. So happy.
For many Venezuelans living here in South Florida, this moment has been decades in the making. Today's news bringing people together with a mix of relief, emotion, and uncertainty about what comes next.
This is the people.
Flags as South Florida Street turned into a rally of hope.
I'm so thankful to God that He gave me the life to witness it. So we are
Thankful
witnessing
to
history
God.
today.
Hundreds of people gathered outside El Aripazo, a known Venezuelan cultural hub near Miami, following the overnight military action and capture of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro.
At the end of the day, you know, we're here to celebrate freedom, we're here to celebrate liberty, and to get somebody that was an evil person out of power, it's a beautiful thing to see.
The scene here was one of celebration, with music, dancing, and cheers, as people of all ages reacted to news they say represents a turning point.
Seeing the collaboration, because it's not just Venezuelans that are here, it's not just Americans that are here. There's people from all over the world, really, that's really coming together for the liberation.
But alongside the celebration, there was also concern.
Wait, what?
Many in the crowd worried about their family members still in Venezuela.
The first thing that we do was call them and make sure that they're about their safety, but they're feeling like hopeful. Hope.
They're still.
Man, the people are happy.
We're very happy because it's a dictator. They're a criminal. In Venezuela, the people, they don't have food, medicine, security, insurance, everything.
I am half Venezuelan. My dad came here during the 80s before Chavez. My own family, my uncle and my cousin.
This woman, she is a counter protester, and she got the benefit of the United States before Maduro and before Chavez. And I'm not going to watch her stuff, not just to skip it or to skip her position, but I think it's funny that this of Venezuelan heritage woman is here to counter protest Maduro being captured, and she's never lived in it. Because the reality is, I have it here, that this is the history of Maduro.
The misery can be felt everywhere in Caracas. People are literally starving. An estimated 3/4 of Venezuelans have lost 10 kilos in the past year because there is not enough food to go around. People here call it the Maduro diet. When we say that people are eating from the garbage, we're not joking or exaggerating. It's a reality. People don't have enough to eat.
People are eating from the garbage.
Eat. The Catholic aid organization Caritas is trying to supply families with one more meal a day, relying on the help of volunteers. It's usually the children who are most undernourished. This is a huge help because sometimes you don't have food for lunch, and other times you don't have food for dinner. In the shops, normal groceries are scarce and the prices are exorbitant. There's no support coming from the government.
No support.
Hello
everyone. This is Inside the Americas. Coming up, the Maduro diet may sound like a fun new way to lose weight, but the belt tightening due to the economic crisis in Venezuela is having serious consequences. President-elect Donald Trump has been tweeting again, and U.S.-China relations may never be the same. And one of America's greatest landmarks is in danger. For vulnerable populations, particularly children, malnutrition is no laughing matter. Laurence Cuvillier and Mathieu Comin report.
This vegetable harvest is happening right by the skyscrapers in downtown Caracas.
Look, it's a squash. People are using them to replace corn flour.
Despite the shortages affecting everyone, this part of town is still loyal to President Maduro. Here, fruit and vegetables are still fairly easy to come by, but everything else is off the menu.
Now, we're not really eating any fatty foods. Meat, chicken, things like hamburgers, chips, none of that. Now, people who used to be chubby are quite trim.
These Chavista activists turned gardeners sell their whole week's production in just a few hours. Most customers have nowhere else to go for food. All over the country, supermarkets have been left with
nowhere else to go for food. Wow. Wow. That's what the counter protesters are protesting. People literally are starving in Venezuela, and they want to get angry because Trump did something. People were literally starving. Venezuela was a rich country that went into absolute and abject poverty overnight. Listen to this guy.
Compañero Gustavo Villapol, ¿por qué estás tan flaco, Gustavo? ¿Ah? ¿Estás trotando? ¿Qué le pasó? La dieta de Maduro.
Maduro
La
died.
dieta de Maduro te pone duro. ¿Ah? Sin necesidad de Viagra.
That's an old classic clip where somebody that Maduro knows in the audience is a lot skinnier. And I didn't set the captions to English, but he's like, wow, you lost a lot of weight. What's going on with you? Starving to death under you. Starving to death. And then you got stupid people. How many stupid people are there?
So over the weekend, the Trump administration forcefully captured Nicolas Maduro and his wife from Venezuela without notifying Congress. President Trump is saying the U.S. will run the country of Venezuela and its oil reserves in the meantime. How do you see this playing out?
Cash.
What's next?
Well, I mean, we've seen this play out before. I guess this is one of the reasons that some people don't want us to know history, is so that we are repeated, and seemingly that is.
Don't know history. I literally just played history for you. The people were starving, crying to God that thank God I get to live to see the end of this man's reign. And this woman, oh my God.
That's what we are doing. Here's the problem. The biggest problem that I have is that it was illegal. Everything that this administration does is illegal. And so I don't know how you take the moral high ground when you are actually executing something in an unconstitutional way in the first place. Right. And so if you had what you needed, which he truly believes that, I guess, then you just would have went to Congress and gotten us involved. But instead, you know, we're hearing leaks and reports that he talked to oil folk, but he didn't talk to Congress. Right. What kind of sense does that make? Because the last time I checked, whether or not you control an oil
folk get things done
company does not entitle you to deciding whether or not the United States goes in. And when you look at the press conference that he held, he didn't talk about democracy. Now, I know there are a lot of people that are talking about this is good for the Venezuelan people because Maduro was a bad guy, but that's not why he did it.
A lot of people? You mean all of the Venezuelans?
At all. Let me be clear about that part.
Let me be clear.
And here's the receipts. The Enemy Aliens Act, which most of us had never heard of because it's from the 1700s, he invoked it specifically because of Venezuelans. He said, we are being attacked and invaded by Venezuelans.
To some degree,
that was
we
number
are.
one. Then the next thing that you know, CCOT, that's where he was sending Venezuelans. Remember the 60-minute episode that they did not want to air about how they were treating them, mistreating them?
Yeah,
at
it's awful.
That's where he sent
They deserve
Venezuelans.
that.
Then after that,
They did
he was
evil to
illegally
people. They
killing
beheaded
folk,
people.
saying that, oh, well, they're bringing drugs because it was supposedly about fentanyl, which is not where we get fentanyl.
No, it isn't.
To be clear, so then he killed over 100 people with these bombs that he was dropping. And then when he went in to get Maduro, he killed even more Venezuelans. This ain't about Venezuelans. I get that there are people that don't like the leader.
I got an example
but guess
for you.
what? There are a lot of people
Jasmine.
that don't like our leader. And regardless, somebody coming into the United States and grabbing our leader in the middle of the night and killing people in this country, I'm sure everybody would be outraged at them doing it that way.
Yes.
But the problem is the people aren't outraged. The problem is the people are happy. The people are celebrating. The people are waving flags. The people are praising God. That's what the people are. And I think this person, this caricature of a person, is so disconnected from reality that they don't even know how to actually analyze the situation. And she's like, oh, they killed hundreds of people with bombs. Oh, I mean, hundreds. Yeah, that's real. That's human lives that were lost. Absolutely. Not one U.S. soldier was lost, but they did kill some people. But if you think that the United States wanted to bomb you, what it would look like, I have a demonstration of what a U.S. bombing campaign looks like.
ضخم تبدو آثاره وانفجار.
This is the bombardment of Baghdad in March of 2003. This is what it looks like when America wants to bomb you. This is what it looks like. This is not what it looked like in Venezuela at all. This is one of the greatest examples of shock and awe in modern history. Now, be clear, the people of Iraq had nothing to do with 9/11 whatsoever, and we killed, I don't know, maybe 70,000 people that night, maybe more. But this is a non-stop, multiple hour-long detonation of buildings and sidewalks and streets that just goes on for hours and hours and hours. That's if the United States wanted, this is what it looks like if the United States wanted to bomb somebody. Trump didn't want to bomb Venezuela. What kind of ridiculousness? If Trump wanted to bomb a city, the city would not stand at the end of the night. And you have all these liberal people who really don't understand that the amount of wealth and well-being that is going to come to the Venezuelan people now, the amount of opportunity that they're going to have, there's immediately going to be $400 billion of infrastructure that's going to have to be repaired just to service the oil and gas opportunities that are there. So here is a list. It's the approval rating, list of heads of the executive by approval rating. So this is just Wikipedia. Don't know how factual Wikipedia is, but they say this is pretty factual. And, you know, at the top, you got Gabon, Mali, Azerbaijan, DRC. I don't know about all these. El Salvador makes sense for sure. Dang, Claudia up there at 74%. It's not bad. Honduras. Interesting. They just banned the Bible, so I don't know. Man, the United States is not. Argentina, Brazil, Peru, Australia. That should be much lower. Australia doesn't. United States, Donald Trump, 42%. That is whack because he won 83 million votes. So I don't know how factual this is. But, however, if you just skip on down to the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They're number 7 in the least most popular leadership in the entire earth is Nicolas Maduro. That's the way things are. That's not a fabrication. The people were literally starving under Nicolas Maduro. So people are just dumb. You can only live in that kind of poverty for so long before you want a way out, and nobody expected this. Nobody expected this. Thank God the New York Times or whoever got information that this was happening didn't say anything. In fact, if they did say something, I think there should be extreme consequences had they had announced something like this was going to happen. And so some secrets need to remain secrets in the government, and that was one of them. Many don't, but that was one of them. So what are Trump's motives? You know, a lot of people have said, oh, all of his oil. Yeah, for sure. You know, but there's a lot more than just oil. Venezuela is rich in a lot of things. And so, you know, if you use a benchmark price of $60 per barrel, 303 billion barrels at $60 a barrel is $18.18 trillion worth of reserves that Venezuela has, which they themselves cannot get to, nor that can they build the infrastructure to properly maintain and use that resource. Now, a lot of people want to complain, oh, oil, this. The reason we have 8 billion people on the earth is because of oil. If you start trying to move away from oil, billions of people are going to die. And so, yeah, that's in-ground value, and that's under the assumption that, you know, oil is going to stay at $60 a barrel. Maybe it's going to drop because of the influx. Who knows? But it's not just oil. There's a lot of stuff. There's natural gas. Venezuela holds the second largest reserves in the Western Hemisphere, approximately 200 trillion cubic feet, ranked it among the top globally in natural gas. It has one of the world's largest iron ore deposits with proven high-grade reserves exceeding 4 billion tons. It has gold. It has Latin America's largest reserves. The government claims to have 8,000 tons of gold. It also says it has another independent estimates around 6,000 to 7,000 tons. Illegal and small-scale mining has dominated recent output. So it has some gold. Bauxite, which is aluminum ore. That's how you get aluminum. Significant reserves, around 320 to 500 million tons of aluminum ore, essentially. Coltan, or columbite, tantalite, a rare earth element, emerging strategic, critical for electronics, batteries, defense tech. Coltan deposits are noticeable with rare earth, including thorium, estimates at over 300,000 metric tons, which is about 500 billion. Has diamonds. Nobody cares about that. Coal, about 3 to 7 billion tons. But this is where it gets good. It has incredible hydropower. And Venezuela controls 2% of the world's renewable freshwater. So why is that important? Why is water and electricity important? It's a good question. You should think about that question. Because the way things are going is going in the direction of our good friend artificial intelligence, which needs a substantial amount of electricity and fresh water. And so this dam, which is called
the Guri Dam, situated on the Caroni River in Venezuela, is not just another hydroelectric dam. It's a marvel of engineering with specific metrics that make it stand out.
It's a marvel
with an installed capacity of 10,000 to 100 megawatts, it supplies about 73% of Venezuela's electricity. The dam itself is 162 meters high, 1,300 meters long, and has a reservoir capacity of 135 billion cubic meters. The dam's construction involved the use of 16 million cubic meters of concrete and 130,000 tons of steel. It has 20 turbines, each capable of producing 770 megawatts. The dam's annual energy output is approximately 47,000 gigawatt hours, contributing significantly to Venezuela's GDP. However, the dam has also led to the flooding of 4,000 to 150 square kilometers.
Yeah, so I would not be surprised if they start expanding the capacity of
Venezuela
that dam. This is the history of Venezuela. I'm not going to play that. I mean, it's kind of a longer documentary. If you're interested in the Chavez, it's a whole story and a half. But yeah, when they found oil, Venezuela became very wealthy for a period of time. And then through absolute neglect and abuse from their elected officials, they have lost all of that wealth and went into straight poverty and in starvation. And so it's important, but there's something else I didn't really know anything about. It's called the Don Roe Doctrine, coined by President Donald Trump, referring to a reinterpretation of the Monroe Doctrine, which originally opposed European colonialism in America. So this has to do with China and Russia having a serious foothold in the Western Hemisphere, which is exactly what was going on because the Chinese delegates were there when they caught Maduro, which is kind of hilarious. But yeah, so it's just about having pretty much control of the Western Hemisphere and not being able to be opposed by, essentially it would be China and Russia. So if we could do this without consequences from China and Russia, it really shows the supremacy that the United States has right now on the global stage and the ability it has to hold others accountable for their actions and maybe, I don't know, maybe help people. If our government believed in such a thing, it could totally help people all around the world. I mean, Trump went and bombed the terrorists murdering Christians in Nigeria. I mean, if the U.S. military power was used to support the, abused and persecuted and murdered peoples of the world, that would be life-changing for a lot of people. And we know for a fact that Christians in Syria have been decimated, or even worse. I think 1 to 10 is a decimation. That's what it's decimation. But it's even more than that. I think it's 97% of Christians are out of Syria, murdered, or they had to flee, or truly are refugees. The real refugees, not the fake refugees. The real refugees are Christians, because there is a murderous culture that, Christians don't really go around murdering other people for religious reasons. In fact, we say, love your enemy. Pray for those who despitefully use you. This is the doctrine of Christians. Our Lord sacrificed his life on behalf of others. He didn't murder people and say God told him to murder people. That is a false understanding of God, and that's a fallen thing. So, this idea that Trump is using his political power to make serious moves, and obviously the allies and friends of the United States, be them friends or enemies or some form of the two, are going to benefit greatly from the amount of infrastructure that's about to go into, and the amount of investment that's about to go into Venezuela is so substantial that it has not been seen in recent years. I don't even think this amount of investment has gone into the Middle East. And I mean, we actually bombed Iran and Afghanistan, Iraq and Afghanistan. I don't know if Iran's next, but Iraq for sure. And Afghanistan, we bombed those countries really badly. We were in war with them for 20 years, and I don't think we've put anything into helping them rebuild. And now Taliban has $70 billion of U.S. equipment and no interest in working with the United States. And what, honestly, what we did in the Middle East as a country is heinous and unbelievable. And, it's really kind of sad and disgusting, but it's it is what it is. But now we're in 2026, and the Venezuelan people are very happy, and they have a future to look forward to that will involve meat and eggs and fatty foods and getting their guts back and living a good life because what Trump has done. And what would you rather them get exploited by China and Russia or exploited by the United States and its allies? I don't know. Pick your poison, one or the other, because under Maduro they were just going to keep starving. For real. They're just going to keep starving, and there's no hope and no opportunity. But now there's hope and opportunity. So it's really a beautiful thing to see the people happy, And I've met a lot of Venezuelans. I spent a month in Colombia, and the number one problem I personally had in Colombia were the Venezuelans, who were constantly trying to some form of scam me or harass me on the street. And my friend who was there, living there, was like, yo, all those people are Venezuelans. So the Peruvian people, they were there, or the indigenous, maybe not all of them are Peruvian, but they sit down and they panhandle. And they could tell you're American because you give money. And that's one thing Americans do, is we give homeless people money all the time. And so I'm going around thinking it's perfectly normal to give money to homeless people, but my friend told me, don't give the Venezuelans any money, man. They'll take advantage of you, and they're very dangerous, and it's an issue where I was at. So now they have a reason to go home and build a future that is going to be incredible. The Venezuelan people are going to build an incredible country. I mean, what they're going to have in just a few years is going to be second to none, and they already know how to do it. Now it's just getting back to what they lost, really, what was stolen from them through these horrible elections. And there is a conspiracy that is going around that has to do with Venezuela and the Dominion and Smartmatic voting. And I don't know if anybody knows about this. Dominion was purchased by a Republican in the United States who had something to do with tablets for the voting process. I have been a adjunct precinct chair at a voting location, an AJ, I believe they call them. And I've I wouldn't say counted votes, but I definitely helped people vote and kept records and kept the cages and secured everything and handed in the documents and took the ballots to the stadium and all. I've done all that. So I understand kind of the voting process for a bit. But then once you get into the machines and you get into this idea that maybe algorithmically you don't have to change a lot of votes. You don't have to misrepresent or cause some issue. You only have to mess with a very small fraction across many millions of votes to have a very substantial effect. So I guess this guy created, this used to be Dominion voting machines. Now it's called Liberty Vote, which was new to me. I didn't know that Dominion voting machines had been purchased. And this was very recent. And I think down here it has the letter. Yeah. I don't want to download PDF. What is Liberty Vote? Liberty Vote is a new 100% American-owned, nonpartisan election technology company formed through the acquisition of Dominion Voting Systems. Liberty Vote's mission is simple but essential: to deliver election technology that performs when it matters most. It sounds like a good commercial. Systems that are secure, accurate, and intuitive for both election officials and voters. Would love that. I mean, having to help people with their sort of handling machines, older people, it's a thing. I mean, I've done it. But, most of the time you don't really have issues. Reliable, accessible, and user experiences are at the heart of what we build. Why? Who owns Liberty Vote? Liberty Vote is owned by its founder and chairman, Scott Leindecker. The company is led by a team with deep experience in election administration and technology. And so Scott, I'm not going to try. I'm butchered the last name. he started a company that had to do with tablets votings. So if you've ever worked at a poll or been to a poll, you have these flip up tablets. They flip back to you. You flip it back there. People put in their information. They punch their card or whatever. It flips back to you, right? And so the tablets connect with the machines, and once you receive it, swipe it, everything's green, you got no issues. Then they can get their ballot, go and vote, right? So he was a pioneer. He's got 25 years of experience. And I think, okay, they got paper ballots. What standards and regulations guide Liberty Vote products are designed to meet and exceed all state and federal certification standards governing election systems. The company actively works with election partners to ensure compliance with each jurisdiction's specifically legal and regulatory requirements. And so, 2020 election is a very sore point for Trump, as it should be, because even if the courts weren't able to prove it, 6 years later, people have still shown that there was a tremendous amount of voter fraud in 2020. And that makes sense. These people who don't think that, there's never been any, they don't want to reveal voter fraud ever for any reason, because you're talking about power. And usurping power is something that has to remain secret. The public can in no way, shape, or form learn about people usurping the system of acquiring power in this country. The right to make decisions, the right to move ungodly sums of money around and to control massive budgets. Some of these random people, you may know their face, they might have $330 billion under their control, and they decide how that money is spent and who it goes to and who gets to bid for these contracts and what process that they're going to make people go through to jump to hoops and who's going to shake hands and who's going to be allowed in. That's and I mean, I when I was in LA, I saw the bidding process and I saw how people were selected to be even allowed to bid for certain things. And then you had, established legacy organizations who had the infrastructure to bid, So who has the right to sign off on how massive sums of money is spent in this country? That people will lie, cheat, steal, and kill for that power. Any way possible to acquire that power, they will do it. And so, there was never any vote. That's a lie. That's a straight up lie. I know the lawsuits with Trump and the lawsuits around, I forget what that lawyer's name was, who was his lawyer. There was so much counterintelligence and stuff at play that our legal system isn't very good at adjudicating very complex crimes, exceedingly complex crimes, especially one that involves a nationwide election that has millions and millions and millions of people involved. There's no way. You're talking about destruction of evidence. You're talking about computers. You're talking about networks. You're talking about foreign actors, people hacking into voting machines from smoke alarms. The judicial system is not up to date on technology whatsoever. They have no clue how technology actually works today, and it's constantly evolving, and it's evolving so fast now for a judge to really be able to wrap his mind around how many different layers of stuff is going on all at the same time and be able to adjudicate that, when the court's really good at adjudicating one thing and then one thing and then one thing. And that's how they do it. I mean, you're talking about millions of things stacked on. I mean, okay, just from my experience in the election, in working at elections, if the poll worker signs off on a ballot, but that ballot happens to be fraudulent and they don't catch it, technically that poll worker has committed a crime. But not just that. The AJ, who then receives that chain of the ballot, then approves it and gives it to the precinct judge, the PJ. And then the PJ receives it, and now the AJ has committed a crime. The PJ then puts it in with all the other ballots. Everything's good. They put in the cage. They take the boxes to the center or wherever. For us, it was the stadium, and it goes into now the PJs committed a crime, and then whoever is the official for the county committed a crime, all the way up the chain of command. The way that election frauds are adjudicated doesn't make any sense to how elections work. You're talking about in one single ballot that either it was cast or you had mail-in ballots. Either it was mailed in and somebody received it at the election office. It's a fraudulent ballot that was blindly put in, stuffed in hundreds at a time. They receive it, they stamp it, they send it up the chain of command. Everybody along the chain of command has committed a crime. How are you going to adjudicate all these people? There's no way. Everybody committed a felony all at once. The whole system and everybody involved with it commits a felony according to the way it stands now. You should have caught that. How can we catch it? No, we didn't see the person submit the ballot. You just have these random, we have a camera and it watches people, but we don't know who these people are. They didn't sign in. We didn't see their driver's license. We don't know ballot person in front of us. How are you gonna deal with that? You can't. It's impossible. You know, we want to say everything happens there at the election. No, dude. And so Trump, he's super PO'd still about 2020, rightfully so. And so there is a connection, and this is from Grok, Venezuela elections and Smartmatic. So the only connection with Venezuela and elections, because it's believed that there was corruption in the elections that got Maduro his position, and it has to do with Smartmatic, I don't know, Dominion voting machines. This is beyond my realm of understanding when it comes to like companies and stuff. But it says Smartmatic technology was used in the Venezuela election starting in 2004, including a controversial referendum that kept Chavez in power. Critics allege manipulation, and a Venezuelan government agency briefly held a 28% stake in a Smartmatic affiliate around that time. However, Smartmatic has denied any role in rigging. Why would they say, we had a role in rigging? Why would anybody admit to a crime? And emphasize its independence from the Venezuelan politics. Dominion has never serviced any election in Venezuela. But as it is with companies, you don't necessarily service it direct. You may have a second or third degree service chain that involves you. The only indirect connection to Venezuela comes via Smartmatic, a separate and competing voting technology company. Smartmatic was founded in 2000 in Florida by 3 Venezuelan engineers, Antonio Mugica, Alfredo Jose Anzola, and Roger Piñate, and is now headquartered in London. So there is a conspiracy going around that it's a bit of a homage to the 2020 election, that Venezuela pioneered the technology that then ended up being used in the United States, because it's clear that Dominion voting machines were used in the United States. Smartmatic technology was used in the United States. And so it happens in January, right? January 6th. This happens in what? January 3rd, January 4th? They get Maduro. January 6th, you have the infamous 2021 January 6th, and people storm the Capitol building, and a whole bunch of Americans are held without due process for, I don't know, well over a year in prisons. You know, no consequences there. I mean, breaking and entering. One woman got shot. Another woman got trampled, I believe. There's a lot of details that are very murky around that situation, but I know Trump for a fact has blood in his eye over that situation. I mean, in my opinion, he won. I don't know what to say about that. In my opinion, he won 2020. And, you know, it's tough. But then we get 4 years of Joe Biden, whatever that was, and Kamala Harris, which is, these people are just the worst. They're not, I don't know if they're human beings. I'm going to be honest. I really don't know if they're human. Something's wrong with them. Very wrong in their brains. I don't know if they're able to think correctly. But that's what we had for years. And so now Venezuela has a chance to have a completely new direction in the future. And yeah, it's going to be something. But very awesome, very cool. Pardon me. Just something you just don't see every day. You know, the fact that our special forces guys are able to get into a foreign nation and get out within an hour and grab the president of that is crazy. And I think, wasn't it in one of the Call of Duty games? Caracas?
He's right on time. Time to earn the mask.
This is crazy.
There's our target. Chopper's landing. Confirm visual ID. Scarecrow, this is 6-2.
Ray Mundo.
Optical feed.
Copy actual. Receiving transmission. Cleaning up the signal.
The comments.
Negative, that's not the target. Uploading image. Negative ID.
Anywho, little predictive programming there. They're going in Caracas, Venezuela to capture a leader and bring him back to justice in the United States. But can't make this stuff up, man. This is crazy. But it's interesting, and it never gets boring. And I do believe there is definitely a semblance of justice. Will some people make a lugubrious amount of money? Absolutely. Some people are going to make so much money that they're already rich, but their riches are going to go to levels that they themselves have not seen. And so, hey, if the Venezuelan people get to eat meat and chicken and eggs, and I don't know if Venezuelans make sancocho, but it's quite delicious. They're gonna have a new future, and I think being happy for the Venezuelans that they are happy and that they see something that for them gives them hope. You know, these people coming and wanting to say the opposite and wanting to permeate negativity, to me, you guys really need to reevaluate your position, because you got one person and 1,000 people are rejoicing, and one person has to be the fly in the ointment and just say, well, he bombed and he this and he that. No, dude. At the end of the day, the power is in the people. That was like a liberal chant. The power is in the people. No, it's true. If the people are rejoicing, you're either with the people or you're against the people. And the liberal left is against the people. Anything Trump does, if Trump cuts taxes or reduce costs, and he's battling to reduce costs. I mean, today things are more expensive than they've ever been. And we're trying to figure out, why do I go to the grocery store and the same $30 I used to spend five years ago now costs $100? That is a war that he's fighting. And I don't know if he's winning it, because things are getting more expensive. But this is definitely one way to get us there. So, yeah, no, it's definitely very interesting and very exciting. How Iran's going to play out, man, I don't know. But if the United States can snatch and grab a president of another country and be unopposed doing it, that shows you a sign. I mean, Russia has been at war with Ukraine. They're not looking to get into war with the United States. China, they got a good thing going on. I don't know if their government wants to completely ruin what they got going on. Who else is there? Iran? They could barely keep control. I mean, in that list of executives, Iran's way down there in the bottom. I don't know if Iran's all the way at the bottom. Let me check that list for Iran. List of heads by approval rating. Where's Iran on there? Really? Is it not on the list? Well, there's an Iraq. I'm wondering if I go down to the bottom, I'm just gonna find them at the bottom. Man, United Keir Starmer. What a goon. That is a bad person. Finland, that's surprising. Estonia, Greece. But maybe Iran's not on this list. Germany. Colombia. I know when I was in Colombia, everybody I talked to despised this Gustavo Petro. Yeah, I don't see Iran on here. The West Bank. Why is the West Bank at this is the lowest. But I don't know if there's a West Bank left anymore. But anywho, guys, a lot to look forward to. 2026 is going to be, I think, a good year for the human race. I do believe so. It's going to be a good year of godly things, Christian things, people's prayers being answered. You know, a lot of people are going to learn how to fight like heaven. They're going to stop fighting like hell, and it's going to be a beautiful thing. So, all right, guys, have a good one.